breaking the profane horse's back in two so quick, but hot fucking damn, I love Halloween. My personal favorite holiday to celebrate, honestly. More so than Christmas, Thanksgiving, and oddly enough, my own birthday. I mean, sure, my birthday is a rather creepy day with all the smiles, but hey, Halloween's built for creepy substance, so I kinda have an excuse to be a creeper. So yeah, Halloween's here. Time to relish in the festivities. It's a pity I couldn't do a special last year, but I intend to make up for that absence right now. So what are we gonna celebrate with? Candy? Oh, no. Not much for sweets. Something I am for, on the other hand, is the supernatural aspect of fear. As humans, it's natural for things to scare us. But supernatural horror and the environments that harbor said revulsion are a special breed. They provide a feeling of inner turmoil to the brain that, for some mysterious reason, can hardly be rationalized or interpreted as to why it's so scary to us. You can lie to yourself and say haunted dwellings don't creep you out at all, but the verdict remains untouched. These locales prey on our psyches. There are quite a bit of these levels out there, so the choices are far from sparse. This was originally going to be a top 10, but things got a little congested with me trying to fit the whole set of 10 in on time. So, I figured I'd go a little easier on myself for this one. After all, I hate to feel tuckered out on my favorite holiday. I only have 3 rules for this one. These levels aren't ranked entirely out of how well they embody fear. Hell, most of these aren't even particularly frightening. But they all must fall at least under one of these categories. They gotta be either A, inhabited by spirits or something ghoulish. B, creepy and or scary. C, fit the festivities of what makes a place haunted. Or D, be deserted. Rule number 2, only from games I've played. Which is just my little way of saying, nothing from Amnesia, blabbity blabbity blah. Third, in order to keep my interest on the subject for this list intact, I had to exclude several of the more typical choices, but I suppose I'll list off the 5 runner-ups. Number 10, the Ghost Bayou from Pac-Man World 2. Number 9, GFS Valhalla from Metroid Prime 3. Number 8, Ravenholm from Half-Life 2. Number 7, Titan Elementary from Dead Space 2. And number 6, the goddamn forest from Slender. And the final rule, which boils down to more of a disclaimer, don't be an ass. Just because something doesn't scare you in particular, doesn't mean you have to be a desensitized little prick and ruin it for everybody else. Oh, and promise me one little thing. Don't go dying on me. If there's one specific thing about the Sonic series I think practically everyone oversees and, quite frankly, neglects, is how interesting the core level design can be. Often the courses in the games are given a specific feature or built solely around the idea of said feature. Not just for upgrades and items, but for unique mechanics as well. There are many notable examples of this, most prominently shown in Adventure 2 and Colors, but the Sonic game I think makes the greatest use of this is Sonic Heroes. I've mentioned before that I very much like Heroes' level design, but I never once brought up how unique every pair of zones feels. They take many chances to throw a different mechanic your way every time the general environment changes. It's pretty cool, but hands down, my favorite of all these switch-ups comes grouped with a 6th pair of zones, which just so happens to contain one of my favorite levels in Sonic history, Mystic Mansion. Okay, really, how cool is this place? Up until this point in the game, there weren't too many levels that forced me to stop and think about them. Yeah, they were good, but none of them were able to make it into my favorites list. When I finally got up to this little place called Hang Castle, I had a funny feeling that would all change. But honestly, it's hard to look back when you come blazing through those massive doors. Now just take a good look at what we have here. Check out that decor. Old world styled castle doors, prestigious statues, bat patterned tiling, jack-o'-lantern designs fitted on finely aged fortress walls. This place reeks of festive furnishings. Hang on. Yeah, I'd like to file a contestant for Freaky Fast Hold Quarterly. Oh, yes. I don't know who the previous owner of this castle was, but they sure know how to sculpt. The last zone had some pretty odd shit in it, but here, the team stumble upon even stranger phenomena. The main gimmick with this place are these odd switches. Touching one of these switches results in the same as Malamar's general lifestyle. Everything's inverted. Flick this switch and the entire level is flipped upside down. Now, if you've never played a Sonic game before, then let me tell you, it's very hard to get accustomed to this. Sonic's not known for stopping for a puzzle, let alone flip the goddamn stage. It sounds torturous, but it's actually pretty cool. Mystic Mansion is flooded with these freaky switches, and they make great use of this mechanic. Often you'll find yourself coming across a supposed dead end, and the only way around it is to flick the switch and find a way to press on. This happens not only with dead ends, but also various puzzles like the statue hands, as well as occasionally spawning a cluster of robots. Also, flicking the switches triggers this odd lens flare effect with a cool sound cue to complement it. Makes me feel like I'm going into the light. God, that feels weird. As with the rest of the zones in the game, it sticks very true to the formation abilities. So much so that there's this odd series of rooms that are formation specific, and they're designed pretty well. Oh god, gotta love the LSD background. There's also this room where there's an eerily blank background. Looks like freaking purgatory. Sonic Team is pandering the hell out of our trippy side with this one, and doing a capital job. When I play through this zone, I can't help but feeling like I'm in a dream. The entire place feels surreal in a way. Almost like it's Jack Skellington's crypt or something. In fact, you often see a skeleton stalking you throughout the rooms, and you never see the rest of it. Is that him? I don't know. Perhaps that's why I enjoy this place so much. It's probably the most festively crafted out of all the entries here. Also, the music. Good God, it sounds like a rave in a cornfield. On top of houses, one of the prime locales to encounter the ghoulish, haunted, and the supernatural, especially in regards to Halloween, are forests. In there, you'll find things like bats, werewolves, ghosts, and oh god, what? In many ways, haunted forests are often scarier than haunted houses. In fact, it seems quite a lot of notable haunted houses are actually found in forests. Or woods. Same environment, really. There are a good chunk of these places out there. But for now, let's talk about the Forest Temple. Ah yeah, I finally get to talk about this place. Not one for joining in on universal opinions without a personal tiff, but really, how can I argue against it? To this day, Ocarina of Time has one of the best assortments of dungeons in the entire series. Hell, I'd say it's the best set right after Skyward Sword's roster. And while I find more overall enjoyment out of its spirit and water counterparts, the notoriety for this place is surely fascinating. Almost immediately after your transition to adulthood, Miyamoto thought it would be fun to test your psychological nerves. And he was pretty much right. The Forest Temple is the initial wake-up call to your mind. Hey yo, Greenie, you're not a damn kid no more. Why don't you pep up and experience true danger? I first played this at the age of 7. You wouldn't believe how terrified I was when I got the initial greeting. Ah, Butters! New level! Never sleep again! That beginning made me stay away from the game for a week. Everything else kept me away for months. Seriously, I actually stopped playing the game for a whole year because of that ordeal. No joke here. When I finally built up the nerve to enter in deeper, I found myself one hell of a dungeon. Not so sure about you, but something about the Forest Temple felt really off to me. It's easily the most disparate dungeon of the bundle, and it's clear to me a lot of attention was put into it. First of all, there doesn't seem to be a concrete theme in this dungeon. Sure, yeah, there's forest-like aesthetics everywhere, primarily outside the main area, but I don't know. There aren't any sort of puzzles having to do with nature or stuff of the like, so to me, it just feels like an unearthly guile. Ugh, get a dictionary. Normally when a level doesn't cater to the natural environment it's set in, that can cause problems. But that's not to be seen here. Yes, it's not a level that lends itself to the expected thematics, but that just makes this 4th dungeon all the more special. Personally, I think they should have called it the Haunted Temple, because there are ghosts up the ass in this place. Twisted corridors, hung up paintings, and a really weird fashion of changing rooms are a couple of sights to be seen. The intricacies of this place mainly revolve around a tetrad of spirits called the Post Sisters. Joelle, Beth, Amy, and... Shut up, Meg. Obvious Pac-Man reference is awesome. The main corridor has 5 different doors excluding the exit, so it's actually pretty easy to get lost. One of the routes will eventually lead you to the ferry boat, and it's put to frighteningly good use in this place. 3 of the 4 Post Sisters hide in paintings, so you have to shoot at the paintings to expose them. Shooting a painting. Huh. Never heard that one before. Taking down Joelle, Beth, and Amy, you waltz around wondering what the hell to do, until you finally swallow your sense of good ghost hunting and stumble back into the lobby, where Meg throws a bitch fit and challenges you as a mini-boss. She's pretty easy. So, what is it about this place that puts it at number 4? Well, I guess you can say it's the atmosphere. Alongside the creepy music piece, the Forest Temple's design is very ghoulish. Not only are the puzzles weirdly unique and frankly kind of macabre, but the entire place feels unsettling to trek through. It's a subtle thought, but it always feels like the entire temple is watching me at all times. And the same thought flows through my head every time I go through it. Is Phantom Ganon really the strongest spirit in here? Maybe I'm just crazy, and that's highly probable, but there's something not right about this temple. Like it has a secret presence to it, and that maybe the Forest Temple itself is a phantasm. Perhaps Ganondorf's spectral puppet wasn't the true evil. You know, something to think about. Oh yeah, and there's floor masters everywhere. Yay! Haunted houses and haunted forests, while being the most typical examples of a supernatural venue to exist in any sort of media, they have a frigid-souled, commanding, and certainly up to snuff competitor. Castles. Haunted castles, on top of being the oldest form of bedeviled habitat, are also the scariest. I'm no Scooby-Doo cast member, but I very much sympathize with the two goofballs of the group on this matter.
Scoob and me don't do castles!
You've seen what the extended horror of what a mere house can bring. Imagine that, but colder, scarier, and more room to get killed in. These hulking crypts are the last kind of place I would want to explore. And number 3, to my discomfort, is exactly that kind of place. Enter Creepy Castle. Oh god, this place. I really don't want to talk about this place. I really don't. But you guys clicked on the video, so I best give you what you came for. I gotta warn you though, here's the part where things get real shuddersome. But if you're ready, so am I. Donkey Kong 64 has a hefty chunk of balls, man. Putting in something this sinister into its coding for all its young consumers to piss in their slacks over, just a tiny bit astonishing. On the surface, it seems like a cliched old snorse fest. But heed my words, it steps way beyond its disposition. Creepy Castle, like every level in DK64, is massive. Hell, it's probably the biggest level in the whole 64-bit era. The whole foundation of this level is set very high above DK Isle, so that means it's the only world where there's constantly a fear of falling to your doom. The outside of the level houses practically every type of scenery you'd expect to see in a place like this. It's nighttime, there's a limited supply of light to see clearly in, grave headstones, and it even has its own moat and bridge. Okay, nice touch there. And I gotta tell you, someone must have pissed off Kyogre or something fierce, because the rain never stops. The music piece that plays on the outside isn't scary, but it is eerie and actually kind of depressing if you listen too much. Strolling along, there are a good number of branching areas to wander off towards. There's the main route that leads you down a lengthy path and up to the top of the structure where Snide is found. No matter where you go, expect to see lots of crossbones and about a quarter dozen cautious along the way. If you distance yourself from the main path, you'll come across the withered out husk of an old tree that holds some underground reservoir. Oh wow. For such a creepy old place, this world has a surprising amount of variety. With such a big construct to explore through, it's great to see such different and detailed rooms. There's a ballroom, a museum, a tall central tower, and even a library. I especially like the ballroom and just how stupidly huge it is. For as menacing as it can be, this level is very well designed inside and outside the horror elements. Quite literally, Creepy Castle is the Kong family's greatest challenge. It's by and far the largest, most intricate level in the game, and probably the most difficult. Plenty of the golden bananas require a lot of skill and knowledge of the game's mechanics, and the barrel minigames set here drive me insane. Not to mention, the amount of bananas needed to face the horrifically original boss is 400. I mean, fuck. That's at least 80 per Kong. The boss of this level is King Cutout, and oh, good lord. The outside, and maybe even the old tree husk, may not sound too bad. I guess the same can be said for most of the interior too. But that all changes when you enter through one of the deeper openings and step inside the catacombs. What is this? What is this? Ow! I thought this game was rated E. Does anyone have a chill down their spine? Oh god, the Creepy Castle catacombs. Just take a look at what we have here. It's dark as hell. There's an ocean of fog that seems to come from the walls. Strong enemies like Kasplats and the previously noted Kashas are plentiful in here. Many portions of the catacombs are labyrinth-like, complemented with erratic dim lighting, buckets of cobwebs, a pool of toxic runoff, and all over the place, the walls glow a sickeningly unnatural hue. Underground chambers may have odd lighting, but I'm pretty sure excavated earth doesn't glimmer green and blue. Don't think it's just your eyes that get daunted. Your ears, oh god, help your ears! Just listen for a bit. Is someone moaning in here. I don't care if he's dead, or it's another one of my stalkers. There is moaning in my Donkey Kong game. Chill out, it's only a ghost moaning? Oh, great. Makes me feel much better, man. Thank you. For as creepy as it is, this level's incredible. The design, like I clearly demonstrated, is very true to the theme what it's going for. And quite frankly, they scared the shit out of a lot of kids with it. Silly kids. There's nothing to be scared of. Oh god, I need a cuddle. If you ask the common person on the street, what is Pokemon? Their answer would probably be something comparable to, it's stuff for kids, or I have pepper spray. But one subject out of that just sticks out to me in my head. People really think Pokemon's for kids. Okay, cool, guess I'll bite. Hey kids! Want a balloon? Game Freak claims to be a game development studio, but we all know what they're really set out for. A boom in childhood traumas. The Pokemon games, as goddamn good as they are, often slip in a lot of subtle, very creepy bits of lore in their mounds of coding. I mean, look at what they say about Cacturn. If a traveler is going through the desert in the thick of night, Cacturn will follow in a ragtag group. The Pokemon are biding their time, waiting for the traveler to tire and become incapable of moving. After spending thousands of years in harsh deserts, its blood transformed into the same substances as sand. Oh my god! Sounds like something out of a Stephen King novel. The Pokemon themselves, spanning every generation, often have creepy and disturbing members of the group, painstakingly safeguarded by that lie of an ESRB rating. But I'm not KB, so this isn't of my element. But the Pokemon aren't the only things that hold disturbing elements. Plenty of locations in the series are also looked upon as such. But what's the creepiest of them all? You're funny. No. As hard as it is for some of you to accept this, I don't think Lavender Town itself is creepy. Aside from the admittedly eerie theme, it just looks like any normal town. That, and I'm thinking it's guarded the attention of one too many creepypastas this side of the interwebs. Okay guys, this is the 50th time I've heard this shit. The fear aspect's starting to dim down. So what is the real number 2? If we hop forward 4 generations, we have the strange house. Where'd all the cute go? What is wrong with this place? People always go on about Lavender Town being the definitive creepy thing in the history of the series and how scurry it is. Well, I got one explanation why this abandoned hut is creepier than the whole entire town. Lavender Town, it actually has things in it. I don't know about you, but an inner sense of unsettling emptiness inside Luigi's rejected mansion is a hell of a lot more shiver-worthy than some hoax of a syndrome. But enough of how I find Lavender Town overrated. What makes this seemingly normal abode number 2? Let's start with the explicit. You come across this place while trekking the base of Reversal Mountain. Then you see this dilapidated, worn-down old hut with dead vegetation around it. Okay, is this a Fossil Maniac's hideaway? Fuck no. What you get instead is nightmare fuel. The first thing that daunts you is the music. Distorted tone, haunting audio mixing with the sounds of wind, furniture creaking, scraping, and even someone else's own footsteps. Not to mention a series of particularly unsettling and rapid transitions between both sides of the audio. The windows are cracked, the floor tiles are eerily ancient, and get this, the furniture is always twitching. Ugh. I can accept the poor condition of the floor and windows, since it's apparently been abandoned for years, but one thing still perplexes me. What up with the twitching furniture? I don't work at Lazy Boy, but I'm pretty sure your ordinary household decor isn't supposed to twinge. Oh, Mr. Minion, that's just a ghost doing that. Oh, okay, cool. Wait, what? What ghost? Sure, they're a wild Litwick and, bayonet found inside the house, but I doubt they're what's making the stuff move. Funny thing, if you look at the map's description of this freaky place, you get this, a house known for a sad incident that is said to keep people away. Wait, there are things known about this place? Also, sad incident. What incident? Explain, game! There's never a decisive answer for all this odd stuff. But you do get a heap of vague, spooky info, and an even colder chill down your back when you walk into the room upstairs. You walk into what appears to be a deserted study. Coupled with the twitching chairs, there are multiple bookcases you can examine. What follows is a series of very ominous literary passages. The passages mention Pokemon like Hypno and Drowsy, obviously pandering to the creepypasta authors, but they also mention Cresselia and Darkrai? I don't like this. There's more. Soon enough, you come across a little girl who's dead. She's apparently the spirit that's making all these couches and carpets move. She intentionally shifts them around to try and lead you into various rooms. That's a trifle creepy. But get a load of this. Listen carefully to what she says to you. An everlasting dark dream. An endless dream of darkness. Dad? Mom? Abra? Where are you? Okay, I'm getting a bit freaked out. In the dark dream, I heard my dad's voice. Forget about the lunar wing. Please stay here with me. Oh my god! Is this really saying what I'm thinking it's saying? Let's fit the pieces together. You got a deserted hut in the middle of scenic nowhere. There's a deceased denizen who happens to be a little girl floating about. And this talk about dreams, nightmares, and fear. The little girl's chilling dialogue. And this final statement the little girl says seals her entire coffin. Oh, lunar wing. I can't take it now, but it'll be okay. Are you kidding, Game Freak? That's awful! Not only did this little girl die, she was subconsciously tormented. Those creepy words she uttered, that was probably her final plea for help. It's clear that she died in her sleep. She speaks of a horrible nightmare she had. There's a passage about the books that mention Darkrai. The Lunar Wing can't help her. Darkrai killed that little girl. Not just kill, but practically destroyed her with her own subconscious fears. I can't believe they did this. There has never been an instant of a Pokemon killing a human in the entire series. At least not in the games. Sure, there's stuff mentioned in the Pokedex and in Legend, but never like this. This is something Freddy Krueger would do. And hang on, I'm not done. What's not to say this Darkrai didn't kill the girl's parents too? After all, there's nobody left to retell the story. All we have is the mysterious map description. Frighteningly enough, there are also wild cacturn outside the house. In an eerie part of the desert. Did the cacturn also join in on the killing? Who's to say? The sparse locals don't seem to know a damn thing. Did this Darkrai kill off all the witnessing residers? Probably! He went so far as to kill a youngling. Why would he stop there and let everyone within a mile stretch spread the word? Where is this nightmarish, murderous Darkrai now anyway? Is he out there killing more people? The youngsters? Would that explain why there's a new youngster Joey X and Y? Oh god, I gotta stop thinking for a second. It might sound like I'm writing my own creepypasta here, and I probably am, but one thing's for sure. This place is terrifying. Unlike the other entries, this level is scary based on what you don't see rather than explicit level design. It leaves a horrifying deal to the imagination, and once it's entered your psyche, it's never leaving. Lavender Town ain't got shit on this place. If you're someone that knows me well enough, you might just be able to make out my final choice. But for newcomers, I'll ease you in a bit. If you were to ask me, what's the absolute best game to play on Halloween? Well, I'd answer with this. I know some of you might be a little sick of hearing me say this, but I have to say it again. Luigis Mansion, I love you. On top of being one of my favorite games ever to be programmed, Luigi's Mansion has multiple charming elements to it, far more than just one. It's a damn fine game, and I'm very happy to hear that it's more than gotten the attention it deserves in the most recent of years. But, you want to know what Luigi's Mansion does better than any other game, and the reason why I hold it in such relish? It's the godly sense of atmosphere it showcases. Keep true to your Spiral Mountains and all the GTA cities you want, this is still the greatest video game overworld I've ever seen. For this very reason, and with the whole theme of this place to begin with, I'm sticking the entire mansion at the #1 spot. First thing you gotta know with Luigi's Mansion, it's huge and dark. And I'll be the first to admit, it's kinda creepy. I'll hand it to Luigi. As cowardly as he is, he's hella bold to be searching this place, even if it is for a family member. Upon the first visit, not only does Luigi think he's actually winning this big place from a contest, he arrives with nothing but a flashlight. Oh god, this is gonna end lovely. Allow me to give the full tour, free of charge. Taking the first step into the foyer, Luigi is almost immediately greeted with creepy phenomena. Ugh, that still creeps me out. Walks down, get the key, I whimper some more, and then time for more jump scares. There are a total of 5 areas in the mansion, each one more mysterious and difficult than the last. Area 1 consists of the room seen prior to finding Egad. The north doors lead to the parlor, anteroom, and the wardrobe room, and the west route leads to a family of portrait ghosts, Neville, Lydia, and their bitch of a baby, Chauncey. The jump to the next area is huge, since it now leads to the second floor hallways. With Area 3, you go all over the place. Out into the courtyard, find out where Mario is being held, and slowly make your way to the third floor hallway and the balcony. The final area has you searching the place in a blackout for the first half, where every part of the house becomes inescapably dangerous. You're eventually able to explore the deepest parts of the previous area, the basement floor, and even the roof. Then you clash with King Boo on the roof. Wow. Holy shit. Tour's over, but I felt it was necessary for a rundown, seeing how the whole game is one big haunted level. The portrait ghosts, bosses, and objectives are one thing, but there is a reason why the mansion is this freaking high. The great secret of Luigi's Mansion, and the reason why I love it so much, is because of how cloistered it is. When the rooms and hallways are dark, you always have the creepy sensation of looming danger. Even for someone like me who's beaten it around 200 times since launch day, this feeling never goes away. As you creep around the gloomy corridors, you can't help but feel insecure about your surroundings, and you always have that same chill down your spine that there's something evil out there watching you. It's an interactive sort of feeling, so you can only really get what I mean if you play it, and it's nearly impossible to feel any other way. It's not particularly scary, no, but it is climatic. It works for both light and darkness. When the lights are turned on, everything feels cozy. Take into account how quiet the game is during these parts, it actually feels like you're walking through a huge house. No. But the dark portions are what it's all about. The impressive lighting on the dark rooms and hallways combined with the contrasting glow effect on the ghosts, it just melts in. It's the absolute quickest a game has immersed me into its world, and it makes every playthrough a timeless experience. You know, I might sound a little hammy with this last bit, but that's not gonna keep me. This old house means an awful lot to me. I know it's an odd thing to say, seeing how it's not only just a heap of coding in virtual space, but also a phantasmic illusion made by the boos, but you know, it's really a special place. To put it simple, do you have any idea how much I played through this game? A sickening amount. That 200 time playthrough joke? It wasn't a joke. Call me off on this all you want, but like JonTron to Super Mario World, for a while I think I actually lived inside Luigi's Mansion. Like, I'm serious. I regularly visited the game just to walk around in its cozy chambers. It was like my home away from home. I couldn't get enough of it. Yeah, it's that kind of level. A place like this, you get attached to it quickly, especially when you're a kid. And that's why Luigi's Mansion is number 1. There's the obvious nostalgic appeal, but there's also the fact that it's an adventure all its own. It's a haunted level that doesn't try too hard to scare you, but instead soaks you into its ambience, which is what I feel a haunted house, as well as any level, should go for. It is a bit creepy, mainly thanks to its soundtrack, but I'll forever remember this old house as a testament not only to haunted levels, but fantastic level design in essence. This has been Fawful's Minion, and I'm gonna play Luigi's Mansion. I'll see you next time with that TF2 list I promised a while back. Happy Halloween, folks! Thanks for putting up with me, and ciao!